Bob Diamond, is this a deferment of your bonus, or is it just one that you have decided not to take?
You know, I think John and I both appreciate the recognition from the board, and both felt that this was the right thing to do. It's a environment that is still difficult. There's still a lot of intense debate around compensation and around bonuses, both for banks that have taken government money and for banks like Barclays that have not taken government money and have been profitable right through.
How far is this political, though, Bob Diamond?
Well, I think in our view, what was important is that we didn't want to be a distraction for our 150,000 people who are out there working with our clients and customers day in and day out. We certainly didn't want this to be a distraction for our clients and customers. And we would like to, very much like to continue to be a part of the debate around financial regulation as it plays out, and around the debate of how we get the economy going and how we get job growth going. Those are the things that are important to us.
Yeah, absolutely. But just having a look at your employees, you mentioned there, you know, we've got this 50% one-off tax on bonuses in the UK. You know, how many people are deciding to defer that bonus till next year, and are you doing that?
I think if your question is, have deferral levels gone up across the business, they have. We were early to come out in support of the FSA principles, the G20 principles, the FSB principles, and clearly they imply more deferred versus what most firms were doing in the past, and that would be the case at Barclays as well.
How many people does this affect?
Does what affect? I'm sorry.
The bonus deferral.
Well, I think if you look at the guidelines, if you're above a certain amount, then the guidelines have different buckets in terms of deferral. But clearly, it's the more senior members of Barclays. So I would say the senior 5,000 people are those that are impacted by the deferral levels.
Right. As we're talking about employees and headcount, essentially, are you still hiring?
We are, but we would expect, you know, across different businesses at different stages. In Barclays Capital, for example, in 2009, headcount was broadly flat, but we had increases in Europe and Asia in our equity and M&A businesses. We were building those out, and decreases other places. We wouldn't expect it to be much different in 2010, broadly flat.
But where you are hiring, people say that you probably need to hire more in Asia. Is that the case?
Absolutely. I think, you know, we've pretty much completed the build-out of our equities platform and our advisory platform across Europe. We're about halfway through across Asia, but really there's a number of businesses, our emerging markets businesses, our prime services business. There's more that we want to do in fixed income, currencies, and commodities. We see Asia as a region that will continue to provide above-average growth for Barclays Capital and for the Barclays Group. Right.
Well, you know, with that in mind, you regret not getting hold of the Lehman Brothers assets in Asia. Nomura, of course, buying those. And that brings me nicely to how do you grow the business there as well?
No, we're very pleased with the decision we made to focus on the Lehman U.S. franchise. We could put all of our attention and all of our energy into making sure that that was integrated. The U.S. was the key market for us in terms of having the opportunity to acquire a U.S. bulge bracket firm and really have a deep and broad footprint in the U.S. And I think, you know, our ambition from the beginning was if we could get that business integrated, then building out the equity and advisory platform across Europe and into Asia, and doing that organically by hiring the right people.
So you're not going to be buying, you're not going to be perhaps growing by inorganic means?
In investment banking, we don't see any opportunities to do that right now. We certainly saw the opportunity with the Lehman business to be the right one, but it gives us the platform that we want. So as we look forward, our growth, as we talked about, will be in Asia. Our growth will be in the emerging markets more broadly. Our growth will continue to be in the equities and advisory business and prime services business, but we wouldn't expect to see acquisitions, no.
Let's just talk about concerns that many analysts have actually put forward, and that is your over-reliance, as they'd put it, on investment banking. How do you respond?
You know, I respond very simply that the global retail and commercial banking businesses in Barclays in 2009 had income up 7%. That's almost £1 billion. And that was a very, very difficult environment for consumer businesses and retail businesses. So Barclays is a much bigger business, a much broader and complex business than just investment banking.
There is weakness on the retail side. Many other banks have complained about that. What are you seeing?
We've definitely seen weakness, and that's why we're so proud that we had income growth across the businesses, and then our business in Western Europe were profitable. Here in the U.K. we're profitable. Our card business globally, as well as here in the U.K., we're profitable. And we have a lot of opportunity to continue to grow in the wealth business. That's a business that's very, very strong here in the U.K., but our focus on growing has been the high net worth individuals across Asia, where we're building that business out of Singapore, and now in the U.S. post the Lehman Brothers acquisition.
Bob Diamond, quick last question. Will you be taking a bonus next year?
Let's wait till next year to answer that.